something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Well, g'day, folks. How are you? Hope you've had a very good sort of a Friday, the last Friday before Christmas in 2024. And I was meant to be going to Ainsley Bullion today, but I decided that there probably wouldn't be too many worse places to be than the M1 between Brisbane and the Gold Coast in the afternoon of said Friday. So not going until Monday. Hopefully everybody is on holidays by then. The roads will be a little bit easier. But maybe not. They might be out doing mad last-minute Christmas shopping. At any rate, if you're planning on going into Ainsley, I'll see you Monday morning. I'm going to pop in and wish everybody in there a very Merry Christmas indeed and thank them for their support for what they've done for us over the last 12 months or so. How's your Christmas shopping going? Have you got it all sorted? I'm going to get all mine sorted at Ainsley. I'm going to buy some half-ounce coins for the family and share them around. So you could do the same, and it makes Christmas shopping really, really simple. Really simple. And let's face it, many of us like the simple things. I'm not the kind of bloke who likes to traipse out through the shopping centres and spend, any time, hours, days, weeks, however long it takes some people. Some people start shopping for next Christmas on Boxing Day, which is probably smart, but I'm not known for doing terribly smart things at the end of the day. And yes, I can hear all of you backing that up now. Thank you very much. I appreciate you and love you dearly for all your support. Who was first in the house tonight? Let me have a bit of a glance. Sunflower, she's triple treating it. I think she's been first in for the last 3 nights. Lovely to have you, my dear. Dave-O and Pete, of course, from Pinaroo. The lovely Aussie Sue Noors. Harm is in. I hope things are going well for you, Harm, and you've arrived at that place where you needed to be. Tony, love your work, brother, and I hope you're doing okay in Melbourne. The Good Samaritan Donkey Sanctuary is with us this evening. Hello, the lovely Sandy and Baz. I trust life, the universe, and everything is good in your part of the world, guys. And the donkeys are getting much love. I saw your video on Facebook, Sandy. You've had a similar level of rain to what we've had. We just have bigger hills than you. So when it comes down our roads, they turn into rivers. Not that yours wasn't, but, wow, ours was an exceptionally, well, we had a number of exceptionally good rivers on our roads. I've made a little video of it, which I might show you, but we'll only do that after I fix the roads up, or somebody has fixed the roads up. It probably won't be me. Said hello to Sandy. Who else? Maria is in the place. Daniel, hello, mate. Hope things are well with you. Phil, hope things are good with you, brother. And you got a very sick donkey, Sandy. I'm sorry to hear that. On red alerts in the house. Dusty, hope you're getting ready for your big trip, mate. And look forward to seeing you just after Christmas. Got the email, so we will catch up and have a lunch somewhere along the line just after Christmas. And if you happen to be on the Gold Coast, folks, and you want to catch up after Christmas for a lunch, email me, carl@vofhq.com, and we will arrange that. All right, I think I've got just about everybody mentioned. Springtree, I didn't say you or Paul. G'day, mate. Hope things are going well with you. And Katrina. And Cunning. Very cunning of you. Old gag. Life, the universe, and everything has progressed rather strangely today, if I've got to be honest. And I only want to be honest with you, so let's be honest. It's been a bloody weird day. I am absolutely worn out. I haven't stopped this afternoon. This morning wasn't the world's busiest morning, I'll grant you. But this afternoon just doesn't seem to end. And many surprises, including a knock on the door 10 minutes before showtime for somebody I said that we can sort of help, and they've turned up ready to be helped. So I'll have to go and head off and do a little bit more helping shortly. But I said, sorry, I've just got to do a show before we can get into that. Or I did have a backup. I could have put the Waving Wonder on. He's now got a halo tonight. How are you, brother?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
I particularly like the way that you've got your headphones on tonight and your Star Trek badge in the background is almost making you, giving those headphones a little golden glow to a point where you look like a Cyberman out of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I was just thinking that when I looked at it myself, yeah.
So, yeah, very attractive. Very attractive look, but one you wear well, my friend. How's your week been?
Sorry?
How's your week been?
Interesting, catching up on sleep, still trying to recover from our little tour around, which and then spending multiple hours editing videos.
Yeah, so you've been putting stuff up on the FBN Media site, and both on the YouTube and on the Rumble site. So if you're not aware of that, folks, and where to go, FBN Media Online is what to search for in both Rumble and YouTube, and you'll find channels there. What you'll also find is on Rumble, you'll find the unedited versions of speeches that we can't play all of on YouTube because they supposedly have standards, even though those standards are a little bit medically outdated. They have standards which will mean that they'll take the channels down, and that just becomes a pain in the bum for everybody. So if you want to get the whole story, go to the Rumble channel, FBN Media, and you'll find the details there. And Vince, how are you finding the editing process, my friend?
Very interesting. So learning a few little more tricks and bits and pieces along the way, like putting in little things where messages saying that we are in there and that it'll be rumbling around somewhere on our other channel. There's not a hint in that at all, because you're not allowed to actually promote any other supplier as part of the agreement with YouTube. Just saying.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't give you the exact channel, but you know, a hint like rumbling around sort of works, I think.
Maybe I should have been aware of that before we started talking, but I probably was, but I'd forgotten.
Well, you didn't specify the full domain name, so you're probably going to get away with it.
Yeah, true that.
All right. So
now, while we were traveling around the countryside doing our best Leyland Brothers impression, without a four-wheel drive or animals,
and not singing
it, you were very attached to your mobile phone, which was forever going off, flashing different colors in certain markets that you were following, Bitcoin being the main one. And it was forever going up and 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 drop a little bit, and then up and up and up and up and up, and then drop a little bit more, to the point where I think when I left you, it was close to 110 or nearly 110,000 Australian dollars.
No, 170,000 not Australian, 107,000 American.
Oh, there you go. I was slightly confused.
Yeah, I watched the American channel, so I just then, because Australian dollars all over the place, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, the Australian market has taken a hell of a hit in the last couple of days. It was down nearly 2% yesterday. The gold and silver markets are, well, I'm not going to say down because they're not, but compared to their recent highs, they have lost, a little bit of money. And Bitcoin, it now seems, has taken that little drop as well.
Not just Bitcoin, but the whole stock market has taken a major hit. It's all to do with the American FOMC or whatever they call it over there, and the supposed interest rate drops that were supposed to occur. They were hoping for 3. They've only got 2. And all the markets across the stock markets have taken a dive. Bitcoin, crypto markets taken a dive. It's to be expected, right? Even though cryptocurrency and the stock markets aren't truly aligned, if the stock markets go down, so does the crypto markets. So the stock markets are all in red everywhere, massively in the red.
Right, okay.
But is that the end of the Bitcoin bull run? Not even close. It'll bounce back.
Okay. Now, what about is it the end of the American dollar? Markets crashing, but the American dollar seems to be rallying. The Australian dollar, on the other hand, seems to be shitting itself too.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of hope that when Trump comes in and gets inaugurated, that will turn around. I mean, it did the last time he came in. All the stock markets went up significantly.
Yep, absolutely.
And the moves that the Feds are making at the moment, they're moves that they can make before he comes in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they're trying to make it worse for him. That's my best guess. Only
the same could be
not financial.
The same could be said with what they're trying to do with the war in Ukraine.
Yep.
And I think Trump has boots and all into the war in the Middle East. And he seems to be boots and all in for Israel. So I think there's going to be a very interesting time between now and I think the end of the year. What do you have a feel for anything that might happen around Christmas time? Have you heard anything in your circles?
No, mind you, I've been not a lot on the news lately, but I did just watch a very interesting interview between Tucker and I think one of the Russian ministers somewhere along the line, or ambassador.
Yeah, right.
It's about an hour odd. I got about 25 minutes into it. It was very interesting what he had to say. They don't believe they're at war with America, but do believe America is helping.
Oh. Sorry.
That's all right. No, that fella, yeah, he needs to be more than just step down. He needs to be sued.
He needs to be brought forward. He needs to be brought forward in front of a jury of his peers.
Yep, indeed.
And the problem is these people don't think they have peers. They're bureaucrats.
Well, see, that raises a really interesting question to do with Dr. Billy Bay. Now, he won his case, and I had a bit of a read of the document. It's up on our network, or at least a link that points to where you can get it from his site. I thought I'd put the link in, it's better. But there's two things that they raised in that, Queensland raised. And that one was the state law and the other was the national law. Now, does anybody understand what national law is?
Most people would say that it's federal law.
No, it's not. Right? It's not federal law. National law is when a group of states get together and all agree on the same sort of thing, but don't actually, they create rules, regulations, laws, etc., that each state will follow, and they call it a national law, but it's not actually voted through the federal parliament and it's not voted through the Senate. So not the lower house, not the upper house. So is it actually law?
This is triggered through Queensland. Most of this national legislation or law, the national laws, as you state them, started or are started out of Queensland simply because there is no Senate here. And so whatever they come up with can be foisted upon every other state and accepted under this national agreement.
Yeah,
but you're quite right.
My question is, where's the judiciary in this?
Yeah.
Where do you take a national law to be questioned? You can't go to state because it's multiple states. You can't go to the Supreme Court, the federal Supreme Court, because it's not a federal law. So are we being bamboozled here? Are we being caught out by a ruse?
There might be a bit of hoodwinking going on there.
Just seems like it, doesn't it? All right, so you have to wonder, you have to question that.
Yeah, you certainly do need to ask a question or two about that.
You don't ask questions.
You've raised a very interesting point.
You know, it was something that flitted through my mind earlier today.
There must be ways to challenge it.
How? It's a national law. There's no such.
I'm not saying that
there's
there
no
must
such.
be.
We never agreed to a national law system. We agreed to a federal and state laws, but nothing national. It's like, what? One has to question that. We really do.
We do have the national heavy vehicle laws.
Enforced by?
Every state.
So does that mean we have to fight a national law on a state-by-state basis? Because they use the same thing for a certain spicy cough piece of medicine. So,
yes. I need to have a conversation with a lawyer, because there is a I think that there is that's a very interesting point for something that's a little close to home. So I like that idea.
I'm glad that was helpful.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
very much.
I did notice that you threw up a little bit that was going on to do with Helene in California at the beginning of the screen, start of the screen.
There has been a proclamation. Don't you just love it when these proclamations come out? So this proclamation starts with all the right words, whereas this is a proclamation letting California know that bird flu is coming to town, and that the government will do whatever the hell it wants to do to you while it tries to protect you. That might mean locking you down where you commit suicide, or that might mean beating you up because you don't want to be locked down. That might mean making you wear a mask when you don't want to wear a mask. All the bullshit starting all over again. And Fauci is calling for asymptomatic testing to begin immediately.
Oh,
do you remember
really?
what asymptomatic testing is? Those bloody stick up the snot.
Yep.
So
I mean, asymptomatic, which means theoretically I'm not a medical profession, but if you're asymptomatic, means you're probably, if you're carrying it, you're not showing any signs of spreading it. But
that's exactly right. You're showing no signs.
I could be totally 100% wrong. Just to say, because I'm not a medical professional, it's just my opinion.
Yes.
Just to keep YouTube happy.
And it's only for educational and humorous purposes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
But I just saw something
extra on the World Health Organization, on the bird flu thing while we're on it. The Shylock that runs the World Health Organization's come out and had a word.
Over the past few weeks, there have been several reports of mammals, including minks, otters, foxes, and sea lions, having been infected with H5N1 avian influenza. H5N1 has spread widely in wild birds and poultry for 25 years, but the recent spillover to mammals needs to be monitored closely. For the moment, WHO assesses the risk to humans as low. Since H5N1 first emerged in 1996, we have only seen rare and non-sustained transmission of H5N1 to and between humans. But we cannot assume that will remain the case, and we must prepare for any change in the status quo. As always, people are advised not to touch or collect dead or sick wild animals, but to report them to the local authorities. WHO is working with national authorities and partners to monitor the situation closely and to study cases of H5N1 infection in humans when they occur. WHO's Global Laboratory Network, the Global Influenza Surveillance and Response System, identifies and monitors strains of circulating influenza viruses and provides advice to countries on their risk to human health and available treatment or control measures. WHO recommends countries strengthen surveillance in settings where humans and farmed or wild animals interact. WHO is also continuing to engage with manufacturers to make sure that, if needed, supplies of vaccines and antivirals would be available for global use.
I just have one thing to add. Should put that up as a warning before and after everything now when it comes to the bird flu scaremongering, which is going to happen.
Question: what was the first few animals that he mentioned?
Mammals, including otters, and hang on, let's go back.
Over the past few weeks, there have been several reports of mammals, including minks, otters, foxes, and sea lions, having been infected with
Minks,
Okay,
otters,
sea
foxes,
lions.
and sea lions.
Sea lions.
Yeah, they must have eaten an infected seagull.
Yeah, righto.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I start listening to, there has been reports. Where's the evidence?
Well,
Reporters,
Lindsey Graham,
nothing.
actually, I'm not sure that it is Lindsey Graham, but there is reports in America. Oh, no, these come from Fauci, that
Yeah.
there are
You're like, I trust him.
Yeah, there are 86 people currently in the United States who have contracted and either currently have or have got over bird flu. So it's made the jump, people. According to Fauci, it's made the jump.
Yeah, right. And I trust him because he's the same one that says that 6 foot was the right thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
6 feet.
So the world,
but we just made it up.
America or Americans are hanging on the fact that RFK Jr. is going to become the new Minister for Health, essentially, in the US. Now, some news out of the US today from the Republican side, surprise, surprise, Lindsey Graham, who is a leading Republican, has come out and said he is not going to endorse RFK into this position, and he has a variety of reasons why it shouldn't be him. Now, here is a rhino of immense proportion. He's been able to wiggle out of the first round of this shit, that, if you like, the cleaning of the swamp the first time through. He was able to sneak through by the skin of his teeth. He is back now to try and wield, and this is the power he plans to wield over Donald Trump when he is elected. He is not going to endorse one of Donald Trump's biggest picks, and a pick that is a bipartisan pick.
You know why?
Lindsey Graham is in bed with Big Pharma.
I would say that's a pretty good guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Lindsey Graham's always been a power-hungry mongrel. So, and I'm calling him that. If he doesn't like it, sue me.
Yeah, you can have half the rock I own. That'll be great.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you can have the whole rock if you want. I'll go and find another rock. No biggie. Now, we've heard a lot of wild, scary tales. Project Bluebeam in full operation. Drones flying all over the world. Well, they're not really. They're flying only over certain parts of America. So that should alleviate most people's worries. But apparently some of these drones have been seen in other places. Whether that's just some bloke who's got his latest DJI model on and decided he's going to take it for a fly at night and see what the pretty lights look like, or there is any kind of seriousness to it. Well, I don't think there's any kind of seriousness to it. There is in America. We explained last night they're trying to find some radiation waste. It's medical waste, but it's quite radioactive for whatever reason. So that's the big issue at the moment. They're wondering where that's gone. It could be used in a dirty bomb, if you like. Think of this waste being in the same container as the bomb that explodes. Any kind of bomb that explodes, it's going to spread that matter in a great area. But there are some weird things happening in Asheville in the USA as well. That's all the LED lights in the car park going off, doing really weird. There's a number of different videos of this happening.
That is really weird.
And it's like, I don't know, there's a bit of water in the system maybe, and the contacts are not making, but there seems to be a pattern to the lights.
I was just going to say, I wonder if anybody's bothered to look at see whether it's Morse code or not.
Well, yeah, good point. I'm sure there'll be some out there amongst us now getting out and having a look at it. Now, last night I did have in the description, I was going to talk about Nephilim and the fact that nobody really, well, not nobody, but not a lot of people knew much of or anything at all of the Nephilim. What they were, what they are, how to even say the name, was bereft of most people up until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. That word Nephilim has snuck into our vocabulary, and people who are more into reading the Bible will have an understanding of Nephilim. People who study the Bible will certainly have an understanding of Nephilim. But it seems now Hollywood and the wider world, the movie-making world, wants us all to have a much better idea of Nephilim because they're putting out a movie for it. Apparently, it's so bad nobody talks.
What, through the whole movie?
That's
I don't know, but it looks interesting. I want to watch it.
Certainly does look interesting. Certainly does look interesting. So Nephilim due out next year. I'm going to have to ask Black Sheep to watch that with me because if there is a man amongst us who can pick holes in a movie script about Nephilim, it will be Black Sheep. Trust me. So, yeah, I quite look forward to catching up with him and having a bit of a chat about that. Here's a little bit of interesting news out of Western Australia. Western Australia's only One Nation MP has quit the party. Now, we're talking about the bloke on the left of screen there. Why did he quit the party? Well, that's because of the bloke on the far right of the screen. That is Mr. Singh. Now, Mr. Singh is a new Australian who is very pro-immigration. What a surprise. He's got a few people in the family he'd like to bring. And he's decided that he now wants to be part of One Nation, and he's part of the Sikh community. You might remember that the Sikh community, who want to be accepted all through Australia, provided they get to not have to wear a motorcycle helmet on their head because, well, you know, they're Sikhs and they don't have to wear motorcycle helmets. God or cow, I'm not sure how that works, protects them. So at any rate, One Nation, Pauline has been... I've got a file on the computer that's just called Pauline. And it's just filled with shit when she shoots herself and One Nation in the foot. Going out and doing the things she's done recently to try and chase the immigration vote, while I understand why she probably has to do it, it's just such a terribly bad look, and it does leave a very bad taste in my mouth. I think a lot of Australians.
I wonder if it's the same Mr. Singh who ran in the elections over here in South Australia, or whether that's a relative of his.
Well, I'm not quite sure whether Singh is like Smith in India.
Could be.
I mean, it took them 4 or 5 years to find a guy called Perneet. So how long do you think it would take him to find somebody whose last name is Singh?
I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, this guy's from Western Australia. So unless he moved, then probably not. But you're quite right. Might be a relation somewhere.
I believe Mr. Singh ran for One Nation over here as well.
Okay.
Right. Just as a nice guy. Right. I liked a lot of what he had to say.
This sounds like it's a candidate they're trying to parachute into somewhere that might vote for him.
Maybe. Could be. That's a possibility. If it's the same fellow, it sort of looks like him, but I mean, I'm terrible at looking at people and recognizing faces all the time, so I may be incorrect. But as I said, nice guy. I liked what he had to say, so at least the one over here in South Australia. So yeah, if it's the same gentleman, he is for Australia and for the Indians as well, because that's part of his culture, but he is for Australia. So that's all I can say on that.
All right. Well, all I can say is I'd like to see a few less of his countrymen coming to the country and a few more of us being able to afford to put a roof over our heads.
100% agree on that too.
So, I mean, it's a real thing. I get emails every day from people asking for help. The knock on the door 10 minutes before the show was because we're able to help someone, and that someone's turned up needing help. So we do what we can when we can and where we can. And if we all reach out and do a little bit, particularly at this time of year when it's hard, when families are apart, long distances, people are alone, it can be quite a miserable time of year for many people. So we don't want that to be the case. And help is always available. All you need to do is email. And I'm not saying we can always do something. There is a chance we can do nothing. We don't make any promises. But if there is some way that I can help, I know someone who might be able to help. I know someone who knows someone who might be able to help. In fact, Guru and I were talking today, and I was talking to him about reaching out to somebody on my behalf because there's a bit of a schism between the two of us at the moment, and I would prefer to build that bridge rather than set what remnants there are of it on fire. But it's sometimes we've got to take a step or two backwards to make ground forwards, and that's
don't give me the match.
No, that's all right. I've still got a very healthy pocket full of matches. Don't worry about that. But the idea is to try and help where we can. So if you can help somebody this Christmas, then please do so. It's no biggie to have somebody set an extra plate at the table or have an extra beer in the esky for them. It's not a big deal, and it can mean a lot to those who are just feeling it this time of year. And I don't know that I really want to tell the story, but I'm going to, of the person we're helping. This person has been stuck on the side of the road in a caravan after having their car clipped by a dickhead driver. And so much damage that the car was written off. And obviously there's not an insurance thing able to help at the moment. Thankfully, the caravan survived the damage quite well. In fact, really well. That is until the person who was in it, and they'd moved it off onto the side of the road somewhere, had to go away and try and source a new vehicle. And that took a week or so because they had to go north of Brisbane to try and source it. And when they got back, well, they got a phone call while they were away saying that somebody had broken into the caravan and was living in it, and turned out to be a junkie who was, just decided to move into a free caravan that was left on the side of the road. Anyway, that was a pretty unsafe situation for anybody to be in, so we've made sure that that doesn't happen, and they've got a safe place to put the van for a few days or a week or 2 weeks or whatever it's needed. So they can get life, the universe, and everything sorted and get to where they need to be. And as it turned out, the car they went out to sort out didn't get sorted, so no car to tow it anywhere at the moment. So it's a little thing. We're not doing anything other than opening up a gate and saying, yep, you can park it there. We're not going to leave these people stranded. They'll be able to get into town and get what they need from the shops and whatnot. Plenty of people here will get it for them and bring it back. So, we're not going out of our way to help people here. But what we can do is help at times where it's appropriate and where it's possible. And just right now, it's possible to help these people out. So we're glad to be able to do it. I hope that you can find it in your heart to help somebody out who might be struggling on the side of the road this Christmas too. I've been there. It's an interesting life. Christmas can be a bit hard. I've never had to spend Christmas in the car. I have spent it away from my family many, many, many times, but that's more to do with radio than anything else. But yeah, I've never had to go and spend it in the car. So if you can help somebody out this Christmas, then I urge you to do so. Have your Christmas presents turned up, Vince? We won't talk about what your Christmas presents are. But...
No, I've already given that away on this. No, they haven't arrived yet. They haven't arrived.
Oh, they haven't?
But,
no,
okay. Should probably be next week, I would say, Monday or Tuesday next week.
Well, fingers crossed. Otherwise, Santa will be bringing them on Wednesday. That's the way it mainly works, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. So...
just one more thing with One Nation. I was very excited a couple of weeks ago when this news came out. There's going to be Please Explain, the movie based on the comic strip.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
I'm less enthusiastic now that One Nation seems to be running hither, thither, everywhere looking for votes from immigrants rather than from... let's call them natural-born Australians, who should be their natural audience. But for whatever reason, they haven't been as widely accepted as I'm sure One Nation would hope. I guess by broadening their spectrum, they are going to increase their voter base. And there is maybe potential for them to gain some traction, some further traction in the parliament. But they're going to come up against two new parties at least in the next election, one being the People First Party led by Gerard Rennick, and the other being the People to Power Party, or Power to the People Party, who's being led by, somebody with a great deal of money who doesn't have a face in it. And they've decided to put Tricky's face up front, particularly in Queensland. Nick Patterson down in Victoria. There's another lady, I think, from far north Queensland who's involved now as well as running for them. I don't know how many others have signed up. I'm doing a lot of research on it at the moment. I've got a few reservations before I'm going to come out and talk too much about it. Something about it doesn't smell right. But I've been wrong about that before, and I'm probably going to be wrong about those kinds of things again. So take it for what it is. Do your own investigation. Don't take it from me. Were you concerned about Russia getting a bit upset when one of their generals got blown up this week? Did you see the footage?
No, I haven't seen the footage.
Okay, so this is the footage of a Russian general, Kirov or something like that, his name is. He is a very significant general who has been involved in the war in Ukraine, but particularly regarding biolabs. He has been in charge of the troops who've been going through and cleaning those biolabs out. He's also one of the generals in charge of Russia's nuclear response teams. This is how the Ukrainian Secret Service, or whatever they're called, NATO and the CIA do. Effective. You may or may not have seen it. I'll play it again so you can see it. There is a telephone pole just to the left of the door that those two gentlemen open when they walk out. Behind that telephone pole, if you look closely, you'll see that there is a little electric scooter that's leaned up against the handlebars of that scooter were packed with a lot of C4 explosive. The remains of the bike, or the electric scooter, have been found, and essentially everything from midway up the steering bar is fine. It hasn't been hurt, but everything above that is absolutely obliterated. So that's where the explosive was stored, and it was remotely triggered. Somebody was watching it, and you know that the people watching it also planted the camera that filmed what you've just watched. Otherwise, we wouldn't have it. Why would a camera be filming that doorway at 2:00 in the morning? It doesn't make any sense. Dash cams, well, some of them will trigger. I don't know about the Russian ones, but some of them will trigger. Nephilim again.
They're just sneaking in on you, mate. Right? They're starting to produce their power.
I've got to stop flicking the mouse, and that's a line I never thought would come out of my mouth. But I don't know if that. I'm not sure if that has anything to tickling the budgie. But that
no. Just stop there. Just stop that before you get yourself into deep shit. Right?
Yeah. All right. Very good.
Well, someone
we have
said
been
exploding battery. Yeah, Paul. Paul
no, it was the battery. The batteries are stored in the under the
bottom part of the bike.
Bottom part under your feet. All of that is still intact on the bike. So it's the handlebars that were packed with plastic explosive. And
dash cams look out the back window, not out the side window at a building on the opposite side of the road. So right. Just a little bit of logic.
Oh, there you go. Bill Hilly's got a comment about budgies. Cute birds, but messy as pigeons. They are that, guarantee you. I had a girlfriend once who had a budgie, and I've got to say, it talked. I've never heard a talking budgie, but he had quite a vocabulary. So much so that we used to let him fly around the house, and he'd sit on you and shit on you and do all those great things on you. But his vocabulary was so good that one day while he was flying around, he flew out the door onto the balcony, and all I heard as he sailed off into the distance was "fuck off, fuck off, fuck off." So he knew how to work in context as well.
Well, yes, okay. Obviously didn't like home too much, but never mind.
Yeah. Joe's saying it seems like Putin isn't taking the bait. Well, Putin would be insane to take the bait. He's being prompted, pushed, provoked, and now openly provoked by NATO, CIA, and Ukraine. I think all that's left now is to find out whether or not anybody else other than China and North Korea will actually come to Russia's aid and say, hey, stop this bullshit, or Russia is going to get upset at you, and the bear is going to get very angry very quickly, and you may just regret that. I would say let's be conservative and say 3. Let's say he launches 3 of those Russian bloody hypersonic weapons, each capable of delivering a warhead traveling at 9 or 10 times the speed of sound, made of tungsten or whatever the hell it is. And he's capable of delivering 3 rounds of missiles across Europe with those sorts of warheads. He could take out Germany, France, England. There is nowhere he can't reach in Europe with those intermediate range ballistic missiles. And there is no defense to the hypersonic nature of them.
Yep.
So
it's not like you can blow it up.
No. And eventually they're going to, Putin has already said, you've crossed our red line. There is another test scheduled. I think it's a 48-hour window that they've got. So that probably means there's another 24 or maybe even more left of it before they allowed to have aircraft back in the area where they're going to launch this thing. But they launch it from the eastern side of Russia, and it will be going to the western side where Ukraine is. So, and Putin has already said, you name the targets, we'll hit them. He's told NATO, you think you can't be touched, you name the ones you think can't be touched, and we'll reach out and touch you. So he's getting pretty serious about it.
I shouldn't be laughing because theoretically it's just the more they push, the more he has to push back. As I said, that interview was really interesting. I only got to watch the first 20 minutes, but even in that first 20 minutes, the explanation was given there. And it was interesting to listen to what was happening in 14 and 15 to the Russian people and what was being removed from them by rights from the government that was currently in Ukraine at the time. And you listen to that and go, well, geez, shit, that sounds a little bit like the moves that we're getting here.
Yep.
No?
Yeah,
just
true.
Yep. Just wondering.
Just like that raises a very good point. The bear already owns the European energy market. Now, the fact that Nord Stream 1 and 2 were blown up by the Americans or NATO,
supposedly,
itself an act of war. Oh yeah, well, you know that happened because NATO came out and said, "Oh, the Russians blew them up themselves."
Yeah, right. Bullshit. Just turn the tap off.
Yeah. That's all they had to do. Turn the tap off. They didn't have to blow it up. So Germany, in particular, is having a very hard winter, and their government is like Canada's government on the verge of tearing itself apart. The energy costs, I think, that the Russians are charging Germany for their gas at the moment are astronomical. And anywhere else that was getting gas in the NATO realm from Russia are paying through the nose, and they are paying in gold. They are not paying in rubles or dollars. They are paying in gold. That is how Russia is demanding payment, in line with their BRICS agreement. So the screws are being tightened from various different angles. Michelle, can you imagine being in an electric airplane when it catches fire? Well, the only thing I think that's going to help you there is if you shit yourself, you might be able to starve it from oxygen then. But I don't. Jesus, an electric plane.
Yeah, right. Like I'm going to trust an electric. Can you imagine how heavy that would have to be, carrying enough batteries around to actually get off the ground? There wouldn't be any room for cargo or passengers.
There is a company called Jetsons in the UAE who are producing drones, personal drones to fly. Now, at the moment, they are producing a two-seater, a one-seater and a two-seater. They are also producing a two-seater auto-fly model and a four-seater auto-fly model, which are based on quad frames with dual motors on each arm. So they've got 8 propellers, if you like. They're all running on lithium-ion batteries.
Yeah, but the length of time that they can run is the question.
Well, you'll be able to fly from the top of one building across the street to the top of another building and land.
True.
You may even be able to fly 2 or 3 buildings down the road.
Well, I'd like to know what that one was that you showed last night. That was as big as a damn SUV.
Yeah, it's a.
I'd like to know what that was running with.
Well,
whether that's electricity or.
I have a sneaking suspicion that it may well have been. I think I've deleted it too. I can't play it for you again.
That was a beauty, that's for sure.
Let me just see if it's. It's this one. We'll play this again so people can see. Oh.
And this is one of those drones that everybody's talking about. Right there. And at first I thought it was the ghetto bird, but it's not. And it's loud. Oh my god, here we go. Here it is.
Yeah, almost just like a Cardassian warship.
Yeah. Yeah.
For all those Trekkies out there.
It looks like something out of Star Trek or one of the Marvel movies. I'm half expecting Captain America to jump out of it.
It's a pretty mean-looking machine.
Well, it is, but if you listen to the audio, see, it's got a pretty good climb rate, given that. If you listen to the audio of the thing taking off,
yeah, you can hear it winding up.
And then if you keep listening, you hear the same audio track again. And it sounds like an electric train winding up. You know, that kind of a whine. You want to have another listen?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
I'm videoing this. And this is one of those drones that everybody's talking about. Right there. And at first I thought it was the ghetto bird, but it's not. And it's loud.
Hear that pitch?
Oh my god, here we go. Here it is. What is that?
There it is again.
Yep.
And it's the same.
And then gone.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a bit weird. Why would that be the same?
There you go. Things that make you go, something.
I can
something
understand
nice
the first one. Yeah. Well, no, we've got one more thing to leave the folks with.
Oh, do we? What are we doing?
The new laws from the New South Wales that you put up at the front.
Oh.
New laws brought out by the New South Wales government about stalking.
Yes, there we go.
As of December the 1st, 2024, the definition of stalking has been broadened. It now encompasses monitoring or tracking a person's activities, communication, movements using technology or other methods. It includes situations where there is no direct contact or approach to the person being monitored. Doesn't that sound exactly what our government's currently doing to us?
100%.
Does that mean that they now come foul of the New South Wales stalking laws? Just raising the question.
The New South Wales stalking laws are good in this regard, I suppose.
Yeah, there's benefits, and
they're not as strong as the Queensland ones. And here is a tip to all trolls. Should any one of us, and I say us, those that you troll, decide to go down this road with you stalkers, because that's what you do. You stalk our posts. I've received an email recently from someone basically describing where I live. They've not accepted my offer to be brave enough to walk up and knock on the door, but we'll see. So these people are no, but the Queensland stalking laws are much stronger than this, although this broadening does seem very, very broad. People in New South Wales, and I understand that people do get stalked online, much worse than anything that happens with me, and this is, I think, probably a good thing for those people in need of this kind of protection. But to the trolls, just know that if you come across a petty freedom fighter who gets sick and tired of your bullshit, they can own everything you own. And hiding behind your anonymity only makes it worse, because we can find out who you are. So
I find it interesting, though. I mean, this is one of those things where it's good for some, but can also be used as a weapon for others. So it's like anything that it is nowadays, right? It depends on the implementation and how it's going to be implemented, on whether it's a good thing or a bad thing.
100%.
Right? And we find that with most things that go on. Well, and that's how they try to sell us some of the bad things, by pretending it's a good thing when it's not. And we know that.
So freaking true. So freaking true. Now, this will be the last time I speak to you before Santa comes down and leaves something in your sack.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the last Friday.
Oh, last Friday. Yes, it's the last Friday that we get to speak on air, at least, anyway. I'll still ring you up and harass you otherwise, but I still haven't got around to making up that ad yet that mentions the fact that we have all these channels that you should be promoting, and that we have a membership that you should be promoting, because it costs money to do this. Some people are trying to even just survive and buy their next drink or the next piece of food or whatever. So, any assistance given by the community is wonderfully appreciated. Please understand that I don't require that. Well, sometimes it would help, I must admit. But Carl does not manage to get any money from the government at all. So his survival is purely on his ability to do voice broadcasting and anything that we donate him. And for somebody who spends his time giving to us, right, we should at least try and help out where we can. And for all of those who do help us out at Voice of Freedom as members or donating, all I can say is I thank you very, very much and wish you the very best Christmas ever, because you have a heart and a soul of an angel. Thank you.
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more, and I'll probably have a lot more to say about that on Christmas Eve. Thank you, mate, for all the help that you've given me this year. I mean, you give it to me every year, but this year in particular, you've been a stalwart. You've helped come up here with the bus, helped me restring the lights for that, or I helped you restring the light. Well, okay, you did all the work. I watched. But I so thoroughly enjoyed our time together. I told you while I was away that you really have become one of my best mates, and I feel very thankful that God has brought you into my life, and that we are the mates that we are. I can't thank you enough.
Well, someone's got to kick you in the butt occasionally.
And that was Vince, ladies and gentlemen. Wave goodbye. There you go. The butt kicker has departed the building. Go off and enjoy your Friday night before Christmas. If you're mad and going out to do your Christmas shopping over the weekend, please duck, weave. And if you haven't bought your Christmas presents yet, and that whole thought of going out into the madness and the shopping centres and the roads and the car parks is just too much for you, then I highly recommend you go online to Ainsley Bullion and pick yourself up a little bit of silver. These are the 1/10 rounds, and this is a stack of 40 of them, but you can get them in a roll of 15. They are beautiful little rounds that you can hand out to the family if you so desire. And I've got to say, if your family likes shiny things, these things are pretty shiny. So you can hand those out in whatever quantities you desire. And I'll see you Monday morning in at Ainsley's to pick it up at their Creek Street, Brisbane office. I'll be there about 11 o'clock, I think. And that's the plan. I think Michael and I are going to go out and have lunch afterwards. So if you're in the market to do all your Christmas shopping in one place and not have it cost a arm, leg, and, well, maybe 2 arms and a leg, then I highly recommend Ainsley getting in and checking them out in their Melbourne or Brisbane office. They are open Monday. They will not be open Tuesday. So Monday will be your last chance to get into the office and pick up some bullion and maybe hand it out around the family for Christmas. Have yourself a fabulous evening, folks. Have a great weekend. I might pop up again across it at some stage. I will be keeping a bit of an eye on what's going on in Europe over the weekend. I don't expect the war to break out just yet, but I do expect some more stupidity. And I don't expect the war to break out much before January the 6th. But I expect war to break out on a number of fronts around January the 6th. And most of those fronts will be an American front, an American home front, I think. Be safe, folks, if you are heading out on the roads. There are too many dickheads to mention. So be careful, hey?
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!